welcome back. And let's continue exploring some of the really cool properties that Flexbox enables for us. So previously, we've seen how we can use justify content to space out different elements in a container. It's really useful, especially if these elements don't take up the entire width of the container. So we can tell them how we want them to position themselves at the start, in the middle, at the end, or create space in between each element to space them out any way we want them to. And we can also use align items to position things vertically in the elements. So usually we're going to want center, but sometimes you might want them to be at the top or at the bottom. So flex start and flex end are values that you can use as well there. So there are more properties that Flexbox is capable of doing. In fact, there are a lot of properties, a lot that we won't even necessarily get into. But another one that's really kind of handy is this shorthand property called flex. It's just the word flex, and we can use it to divide up our layout in some very interesting and flexible ways. So let's return to an example I think we've seen before. So this is an earlier stage of the example where we were going over display flex initially. And we currently have our fixed size layout with these columns being 300 pixels, the container being 960 pixels. If we add them up, I think we found that the 320 times 3 is equal to our 960. So if this size changes, well, it has interesting effects on our overall layout. For instance, if it shrinks down to 800 pixels, what is it going to look like then? Well, it still kind of restricts things. Actually, not so bad. This 300 is larger than the 300 times 3 is larger than the 800 that we have available to us. So it's going to have to shrink in order to accommodate it. But what if we have it larger, like at 1200? Well, it's not smart enough to know to grow to accommodate that extra space. So what we could do is, instead of applying an overall width like we have here currently, let's see what it looks like without anything. Not bad. We can also more strictly explain how we want to use this property. So flex 1 will do the same thing. And what's essentially happening is we've just said that we have, let's think of this as a pie or a pizza. And we have 3 people, 3 columns that each want a portion of the pie or the pizza pie. And it's going to be divided where each of them gets 1 slice. So figure out the size of a slice. Well, if there's 3 of them, it's going to be 33% for each. And what we can do is, if we want to change this up, we can go in and add another column. This one maybe we'll have less text on, just so we see that the amount of text we have on here, it doesn't really matter that strictly. And if we come back, we'll see. Yeah, nice. So this one's a bit longer. This one is a bit shorter. And yeah, it looks like we're going beyond our overall height. So I'm just going to dial up a bit more height. That'll be fine. Very nice. Okay, so we can add in as many of these columns as we want to, or as few of these columns as we want to. But what if we want one of the columns to actually be bigger? So this is where things get really exciting. So I can use a lot of the same style on this new column. Well, if I don't tell it what to do, it's going to look like that. So I'm going to say whatever I'm doing with the normal column, I want to also do to column 2. And this comma means apply the same CSS to both. So let's take a look again. So now they look the same. But what if I change this one further? So I'm going to use it again. It's going to inherit all of these properties: background color, padding, font size, flex 1. But I'm going to tell this one to be a bit greedier. I want this one to take 2 columns. So flex 2. It's going to ask for 2 slices from the slicing of our pie. And we'll see it now takes up twice as many slices. So this one has 1 slice. This one has 2 slices. 1 slice, 1 slice. And then the math kind of works out this way, where we figure out, add all these slices together. 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, that equals 5. If this one is asking for 2 out of 5, well, it's going to be getting about 40% of the width here, or 40% of the pie or pizza or whatever we can slice. 40% of the quesadilla. Yeah. So this is really nice and flexible. In fact, if I change my mind and I say, well, you know what, that one has 2 slices. Let's give the other one 2 slices on the end too. Then I can do the same thing. Right, you get 2 now also. I can just use this new class that I've created alongside. So now that gets a little bit more as well. Maybe I don't like how these things are lining up currently. So I could, yeah, if you have 2, let's reduce you by 1. Just going to change the amount of text that's in there. And maybe I'll see how that looks. Hey, now they're all kind of roughly the same height. That's pretty neat. So we can create any sort of layouts we want to with this. There's no real limit. Like I can keep adding these in if I want to. So we have even more. And it gets pretty crazy the more you add them in. So any sort of layouts you want, we can accommodate. Although, okay, I think we ran out into an issue here. So this word here is currently the thing keeping it a certain size because it's not breaking further than that. So it's not perfect. It won't break up words for us, but it's pretty good. So what else can we do while we're here? Well, let's reduce the amount of these that we have. So another effect of having the columns be flexible like this is if I start tweaking the size of this container, maybe I only want it to have 700 pixels of width. Well, I don't have to calculate the size, the amount of pixels available to each of these now. They're going to figure them out for me. And if we decide we have a bit more space, maybe we can set it to 900. Once again, it's going to figure out for me. Oh, I want you to all look like this, which is all really kind of cool. Yeah. So Flex is just this really kind of awesome property, but there's always this extra little bit of math that we have to think of. Like this is 1 slice, this is 2 slices, 1 slice, 2 slice. Okay, so that's let's see, 1/6, 1/3. And we add them all together, we should hopefully add up to 1 whole. So a little bit tricky, but if you want evenly spaced out columns of text, Flex 1 is great. And if you want to have offset columns, then maybe we just need 1 of each. Oops, still drawing. Let me turn that off. So if I go back, maybe we just want 1 of each. So this will be 33% and 66 roughly %. So yeah, the Flex shorthand actually combines a lot of different properties. So Flex grow, Flex shrink, Flex, yeah, you get the idea. There's a lot of them in there, and we don't need to know every little detail. Although if you're really curious, I'll include a link down below. So check it out. CSS Tricks has really excellent content. So highly recommend reading up if you're really curious. So Have fun with Flex, and see you in the next episode.